Hi there, my name is Andrew with the American Heritage Museum. Today, I'll be taking you for a walk around our M5A1 Stuart. The M5A1 is an American light tank introduced towards the end of World War II as a replacement for the earlier M3 series. Now, the M5A1 features a whole number of improvements over its earlier counterparts, including a new engine, transmission, upper hull, and even a brand new turret. Being a light tank, the vehicle saw extensive use with cavalry and reconnaissance units for which it was fairly well suited, weighing in at just over 17 tons with a top speed around 36 miles an hour, relatively lightly armed with a 37mm cannon and three 30-caliber machine guns. Let's start things off right up here at the front. So firstly, the Stuart uses a front-mounted transfer unit, which is right underneath this main cover here. Now, you'll notice that the mounting bolts along the top edge have this steel wedge welded on just below them. This is a bullet deflector, and it's designed to stop or deflect incoming projectiles to keep them from damaging the bolts. On either side here, we have our headlights, accompanied by our blackout markers, and on the left here, we have our siren. Now, you may be wondering what blackout markers are. These are just very dim lights that you turn on at night when observing light discipline. This is the practice of avoiding the use of bright lights when in an area where the enemy could be, as to not give away your position. As for the siren, most military vehicles from World War II and even into the modern day have some sort of siren to alert people, both military personnel and civilians alike, to the movement of military vehicles in an area. So when you hear these, you know to get out of the way. These sirens in particular sound a little something like this. I'm fairly certain that would get your attention. The frames around the front fixtures here are just designed to help keep the fixtures from being broken, and down here we also have some toe points. Next, we have the bow machine gun. This is an M1919 30-caliber machine gun housed in a ball mount, as is standard on most World War II era tanks. Then, moving up, we have these little circular things. These are effectively just pistol ports with big steel plugs that can be dropped out by the driver or co-driver respectively. Now, I haven't actually seen them outlined in any manuals or really found any documentation on what their use was intended to be, but I suppose in a pinch you could use them as either an actual pistol firing port or potentially even a vision port. Draped over the left side here we have the tow cable, and welded onto the upper front plate on either side we have the lifting eyes. Now, these would be used not only in the factory to lift the vehicle and move it around on the assembly line, but also when it came time to load the tank onto a ship to be shipped overseas. Welded onto the upper front plate here, we have this little steel frame, which is actually intended to hold a folding windshield for the driver. Now, for the driver and co-driver's hatches. There's nothing particularly interesting about the hatches themselves. They each house their own periscope and lock into place once they're fully open. The hatch openings are lined with rubber, which helps to both waterproof the tank and makes getting in and out just a little more comfortable. And between the two hatches, we have a fume evacuator, which, you guessed it, evacuates fumes. Moving around the side, we can get a look at the tracks and running gear. Our Stuart has steel tracks mounted, although there were also rubber tracks available. The steel tracks are made up of a shoe on the face, the body, the backer plate, and then end connectors on either side. The Stuart uses VVSS, or vertical volute spring suspension, with 2 bogie assemblies per side, each one housing 2 road wheels and 2 volute springs. Now, this system is pretty darn good. It provides a fairly smooth ride while taking up no internal space due to all the components being externally mounted. Because the Stuart uses a frontally mounted transfer unit, its drive sprockets are also found in the front. The vehicle uses 3 return rollers per side, and the idler wheel doubles as a 5th road wheel, with a volute spring found just inside this housing here, and the track tensioning system found on the face. Along the bottom of the sponson here, we can see all the mounting points for the sand shields, which are not present on this example. Generally, these sand shields were pulled off in the field anyway, because they, for one, made it harder to work on the tracks themselves, and for two, had a tendency to get bent and warped. At the back of the hull, we can see this incline that goes into a raised flat section on the rear of the tank. Now, this is done because the new Cadillac V8 engines used in the M5 and M5A1s required radiators to be mounted just above them, and this gave the tank space to accommodate them. Atop the right-hand sponson, we have the external fire extinguisher pull handle, as well as a plug covering up a hole that could be used to mount things like an antenna or other accessories as needed. It's also worth mentioning that these are only found on the right side and are not mirrored on the left. Moving around the rear, we have some spare track links, 2 on each side, lifting eyes, pioneering tools, taillights, and a great big storage box. Underneath all that stuff, we have some engine access doors, our exhaust, our tow hitch, and our exhaust diverter, which is currently folded up out of the way. Up here on the engine deck, we have our barrel cleaning rods, pickaxe, and track wrench. The engine deck itself is made up of smaller sub-panels which can be removed to access the radiators and fuel tanks. On the back outer corners, we have our fuel tank fill ports, and to the inside here, we have our coolant fill ports. Like I mentioned earlier, the M5A1 is powered by 2 Cadillac V8 engines. Each one of those engines is connected to its own hydromatic transmission, with its own drive shaft running up to the transfer unit. The transfer unit then takes the power from the engines, transfers it out to the sprockets, and drives the tracks. Now let's take a look at the turret. The turret has a 2-man crew consisting of a gunner on the left and a commander-loader on the right. Each of these crew members gets their own hatch, with the commander's hatch also having a periscope. Mounted just in front of the turret hatches, we have the spotlight, which has controls inside the turret to point it up, down, left, or right, and we also have 2 more periscopes. This one for the gunner is slave to the cannon, and this one for the commander can move freely. Mounted to the left and rear of the turret, we have track grousers. These can be added to the tracks in slick conditions like mud or snow to give them a little extra bite and help keep the tank from slipping around. On the very back of the turret, we have this access door that can be removed when taking the main gun in or out of the turret. This one also doubles as our antenna mount. Up here on the right side of the turret, we have our roof-mounted M1919 30 caliber machine gun, as well as this oddly shaped metal box. This is actually a shield for the machine gun. Now, when not in use, the machine gun can be swung backwards to keep it out of harm's way and from getting hung up in things like dense brush. Up here at the front, we have our M44 combination gun mount, housing our M6 37mm cannon, as well as yet another M1919 30 caliber machine gun. On the left here, we have our gunner's optic, along with its rain shield, and lastly, we have 3 more lifting eyes. And that just about wraps things up. I really hope you enjoyed the video and maybe even learned a little something new. If so, consider leaving us a like and maybe even subscribing, as it really does help us out a lot. In the meantime, my name's Andrew with the American Heritage Museum. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.